In this episode, we're finishing the rocker panel. Okay, so I'm going to do the final trimming today and get this installed. And then we'll move on to the next section, but I just want to get this done, so I'm probably going to do a little less talking this episode, a little more just working, so let's get at it. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with how it fits now. I've got a little bit of gap around the edges just to make it a little bit easier to weld. The weld should fill those gaps. The next step, I'm just going to clean up this piece. I'm going to prime underneath anywhere that I'm not going to have access to. Then I'll just clean up the edges and use some a little bit of weld through primer in there. I've got some self-etching primer that I'm going to kind of spray the inside of this and anything that's underneath that I'm not going to have access to again. So basically that's the next step. Okay, so while I'm waiting for all the primer to dry, I'm going to go grab a coffee. So here's a bit of a look up close. I'm still working on it, but you can see I've got it kind of tack welded along here. I'm trying to space the tack welds out a bit so I can minimize the warpage of this panel. I've kind of got the corners done in here. My inexperience in welding requires more grinding than probably a better welder, but in the end it seems to work out okay. So I've still got to kind of finish off that corner there. I've got a bit more of a gap there than I wanted, but what can you do? So I'm slowly plugging away at it, and I'll update you again in a little bit. Okay, so it's pretty much all installed now. I got a little bit of warpage here that I'll have to take care of a little bit later, but not too bad. I kind of expected to get a little, but everything else went pretty smoothly. Just got to clean it up a bit, and yeah, that's one rocker panel done. I'll bring the camera in and just give you a little bit closer look. Okay, so here we go. Kind of starting at this end. You can see, cleaned it up in through there. Those are just the spot welds along the top there. And there's this corner here. There's the there's that, and then the end. I haven't actually finished up this end here because not exactly sure what I'm going to do with that, because I am going to be replacing kind of this wheel arch here. So, and I think it might actually take some of that out of there as well. So, but yeah, I'm very happy, and let's move on to the next section. Okay, so I think the next thing I'm going to tackle is this wheel arch here. It's got a big dent here, and it's rotted away here, another dent there. So I did purchase replacement wheel arches at the same time that I purchased the rocker panels. So I got this to fit here. So basically what I need to do is just figure out how much of this I'm going to use, how far out here I want to cut, and then get it welded in. Okay, so I kind of sanded back the paint just to see what I've got to work with under here. Looks like there has been another repair done to this panel. Looks like it was welded there and then kind of along the edge here. So I'm still trying to look. I do also have, like I showed you in the unboxing section, I do have these corner panels as well, which kind of fit in here. It's a bit of an overlap. This will sit here, and this corner kind of. So depending on how much I use, yeah, we'll see. So I did mark on here kind of where it comes up to. I don't think I'm going to cut up way up to there, but I'd like to get rid of this section, I guess. So I'm probably going to cut along here, and then maybe down. This is all good here, so maybe down here. I've got these little cutouts for the bumper supports. I don't really want to cut that out. That way I don't have to worry about trying to line up the bumper later on. But I might come down here. And then on this side, I've got this big dent here, so I'll cut down through. I haven't quite decided whether I want to leave the new piece from the rocker panel or cut through into that, maybe, so that this fender flare is all solid one piece. So that's what I'm just working out right now. So. Basically, I've cut this back to see what we're working with here. You can see I cut kind of well within where our patch panel can cover if we need it to, but looks like this inner fender is going to need a little bit of work as well. Edge is kind of rusted off of it, so we'll have to replace that. And then this is actually part of the outer fender. I just trimmed it just to make it easiest to get it off without doing the least amount of damage. But I'll clean this up, and then we'll see basically what the next step will be. I guess I still need to figure out how much I'm going to use, and then we're going to have to repair this inner fender as well. Some camera issues, and I missed a little bit of, or lost a little bit of footage, so I'm just gonna try and catch you up here a bit. This is kind of the rear corner section that I cut out as I'm trying to repair this inner fender. It was all rotted out in here and here and basically on the inside here, so I've made up a couple little patch pieces that I'm going to weld in there. And just for example, I have this piece that is going to fit in here like this. And then I have this piece which will fit in here like this, basically. So that's what I'm working on right now. And once that's in, then I'm going to replace this kind of lip along here, and then slowly get this wheel arch back on. So. Down here and here. I cut a little bit more out of here just so I can have access to this thing, so I can check the fitment on this. I don't think, I'm still debating on whether I'm going to repair this flange all the way around. I'm having a hard time welding to this because of the rust that's on it, and I don't have the time or the materials to basically replace the whole thing. So I've replaced it along this edge here. This side's fairly solid. I'll clean up the surface rust on there, but this is fairly solid here, other than where there's a bit of a tear right there. But I've made a mistake. When I go to fit this now, you can see right here that is sticking out too far. So I'm going to have to make a cut and bring that in a little bit to fix that. And then I'm going to basically trim this and install it. So I'll put some primer on the pieces behind there that I'm not going to be able to access, but that's a bit of a bummer. I'm going to have to redo a little bit of this section here, so it happens. Got it tack welded in place. Pretty happy so far. Went pretty smoothly. There's a few little bit of tweaking I'm gonna have to do when I start doing the body work, but overall I think it so far it's going pretty good. So basically now what I'm gonna do is just go around again and just kind of continue tack welding, spacing it out to minimize the warping as much as I can. Yeah, so it's not a lot to talk about, and I should be able to get this done today, so I'm happy about that. But what I'm going to do is I'll bring the camera in, just give you a little bit closer look at what I've done so far, and then I'll continue on with the tack welds. Alright, so here you go. You can see it's just kind of tacked in place here. Down this side, I was able to get the gaps pretty good so that the weld is working good. So I still obviously have to trim this piece down here. I just left that because I wasn't sure exactly how it was going to fit, so I'm going to do that afterwards. But all right, back at it. Diet Pepsi. So good. Okay, so I'm done tack welding it all around, pretty much, I think. I will grind it down and then check for any spots that I missed, but I think I've got most of them, but I usually miss a few that I don't see till after you grind it down a bit. So I will bring the camera in again and show you a little bit of a closer look. Okay, so I'm not sure how well this shows up on the camera, but basically I've gone along, spot welded everything, alternating about 1 inch apart, and then gone back through and kind of fill in the gaps, working from side to side, letting it cool so it doesn't heat too much, and that is what you get. I've kind of left down here a bit because, again, I have that other panel that I'm still not 100% sure what I'm going to do, whether I'm going to just leave this and maybe fill this, patch this, or cut the section out or something. I'm not sure. So this section isn't exactly done yet, but alright, get to grinding. Alright, so that's one wheel arch installed, one rocker panel installed. I have to admit, I'm still relatively new to this car restoration thing, and you get a bit of a sick feeling in your stomach when you're cutting big chunks of the body off. Sort of think to yourself, what the hell have I just done? But everything turned out good today. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode of Analog Generation.